boys and girls. If you guessed right, yes, it is Nif with you today with another brilliant story from the most amazing book ever, the Bible. Well, kind of. Just get seated and listen, because this is an amazing story with an amazing animal and some other fun parts. So listen up. Okay, so the name of my story today is The Donkey Named Dodo. Now, do any of you know the sound a donkey makes? Come on, give it a go. Yes. So, in a dusty little town, there was a little donkey named Dodo. And now, Dodo thought he was the most amazing donkey ever. He thought, I am the fastest donkey. Even though he would always trip over, he thought, I am the strongest donkey. Even though he couldn't even wrestle with a chicken. But Dodo thought he was the best person in the whole entire world. So he said, one day, my mission is I will be treated like a king. The other donkeys and the other animals just looked at him and laughed. So, one day, there came a person who asked Dodo for a very special mission. And now Dodo thought, yes, this is my time. This is my chance. Finally, I will become royalty. So, he was led into a big, busy, bustling city with so many people. And suddenly, something amazing happened. People started to shout, hooray! People were cheering. People were so excited. They started to wave palm leaves. They were putting their cloaks on the floor. And he thought, yes, everyone's treating me like a king. I'm truly a king indeed. And then Dodo's eyes grew wider. He was so happy and excited. He knew that he was very special. He knew he was the greatest donkey ever. Although maybe that's just what he thought. So, he put his chest out and he started to walk very slow and very proud like a great king. But he started to hear something else, something he didn't expect. The crowd were saying, look, it's Jesus, he's coming. And he thought, Jesus? Who's that? And then he looked and he wondered, oh, wait, so they're not cheering for me. They were cheering for who Dodo was carrying on his back. So he said, oh, he was really disappointed. And he said, so I'm not the king. So that means I'm not actually special. He was just a regular donkey. So he became very, very sad and disappointed. But he thought to himself, maybe I'm not the king. Maybe I'm not the one they're cheering for. But at least I get to carry this amazing person that everyone seems to be so happy about. So Dodo was happy again, he was excited, and he became more confident once again. So from that day, Dodo stopped thinking that Dodo stopped trying to be the most important person ever. He was not proud anymore. And he said, even though I might not be the most important donkey, I'm going to try to be a very helpful donkey. Now, the moral about this story is it's not about trying to be the most important person, but it's trying to be willing to serve and willing to be kind wherever we go. As Christians, we are not meant to be proud. We are meant to be humble. Back in those days, donkeys were very humble animals, but they still did a very good job. They would carry people for miles and miles. And you see, even though they might have been seen as not the best looking animals or the biggest animals, they were still very hardworking and they were willing to worship and serve. Now, this story, if you realize the link, talks about Palm Sunday, Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Jesus was so humble, even though he was the king of all kings. He used a donkey just to show that, yes, he was a great Messiah, but he was a very humble Messiah. And as we see in the Bible, Jesus was willing to help anybody. He would help the people that were poor, people that were blind, people that everyone else wouldn't help or would overlook. Jesus did not overlook anyone, and he was such a humble king. And this is what made Jesus the greatest king of all kings. And we even know that when Easter came, Jesus was going to give his life. So yes, he was the greatest king, but he was a king who was willing to sacrifice his own very life for each one of us. So what does this show us? That we should love Jesus and see that even though Jesus was the greatest king who had come from God, he was still very humble, and he still went about helping whoever, whatever their background was. So boys and girls, don't forget this, okay? We must always be humble. We must always remember to be willing to help, willing to, show kindness to anyone, no matter who they are, okay? So that's the end of my story today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and definitely stay tuned. Now, put down below what your favorite part of the story was, or if there was anything that surprised you. Bye now!